my dear.
Thank you. I'm Dee Brooks, and I am Double Diamond with It Works, and I've been here since April of last year, 2016. And Denise, I am so excited. I kind of thought in my head what I would say right now, but I, for one, was shocked when you. I was like, I'm just going to message her and find out if I can interview her. And when you actually responded back, I was in Lowe's grocery store, and I think I actually screamed out loud. And it's when I immediately text Alicia and Lindsay and Amber and everybody and Christy, and I was like, oh my God, Denise is going to do it. So I'm so excited. For one, I just know that you're someone, you're a Black Diamond, so I'm actually nervous. And I don't usually get nervous doing these things. But I'm just super excited because, we look up to you majorly, and I just can't wait to hear, what you do and how you do it and all that good stuff. So I'll let you kind of take it off from here. You want to tell us a little bit about you, your story, like how you got into It Works, and then like why.
Why, hello everyone. Thank you so much, Dee, for your invitation. And I have to say, I'll tell you one reason why I said yes. And that is because one thing I've learned in this business is that our job is to be a professional asker. And the answer is always no, unless you say yes. So I don't know this group very well. Alicia, I don't know you very well. So I'm really excited to get to know this team and then see you at boot camps all around the country. So thank you for asking, and way to be bold and just step up and ask. And I always love to validate that big ask. So thank you for asking. Oops. Feedback. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so my name is Denise, you guys. Thank you so much for doing it. I think an hour earlier than you normally do. I was like, I go to bed at like 10 o'clock. So she gracefully bumped up the call time a little bit for me. So anyway, I'll start with my story. My name is Denise. I've been with It Works for almost 10 years. So next month, April 13th is my 10-year anniversary. So I'm throwing myself a little party with my team. We're just going to do like dishes to pass, and we're going to tell It Works memories and play games and just have fun. Because at the end of the day, if we're not having fun, why are we doing it, right? So I'm really excited just to celebrate all the years that we've devoted to this business, and it absolutely has changed our lives. So previous to this, I was a clinical psychologist. Brandon was an aerospace engineer. And a bit of our story is I went to grad school. I got my master's in clinical psychology. I came back to Grand Rapids and I got my first job. And you guys, I don't know if I was in school for 6 years. I was like working towards the big job, like, yeah, I'm in the real world, you get your job, we go out to dinner, we celebrate, like life is good. Until you actually start working. And you realize, like, really, I don't know that I want to do this for the next 30 years. Like, this is crazy. I was working with people that didn't really want help in a system that couldn't help them. And I was tired. By 26 years old, I went through what they call a quarter life crisis, where you really go, I don't know that I can do, what am I going to do? What do I want to do for the next 30 years? Because this is not it. Brandon, it sounds like he had a cool job. He was an aerospace engineer, but he was bored out of his mind. He sat in a cubicle and wrote code for planes all day. And he has always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So he's always looked at owning something. We would, he'd look up franchises or startups, or, he's always like has his wheels turning, like, what should we do? Because this is not it. And life wasn't bad. You know what I mean? Like we weren't living paycheck to paycheck. We were able to put money away. But we were slowly dying inside. So I like to say that we didn't have a rags to riches story, but we had a survive to thrive story, because we were living for the weekends. We were a zombie throughout the week. We were doing things because we felt like we had to, and we just weren't living within our gifts. We were tired, just like stuck, but we didn't know what else to do. And so we had our eyes open. I think that was it. We had our eyes open. And we met our sponsor, Cammie Dempsey, at our small group at church. So we were in our small group for several weeks, and she kept talking about this rap thing, and she'd like come to small group from an expo, And she'd be like, oh my gosh, we wrecked 80 people. And, you know, we're like, what are you talking about? But one thing led to another, and I tried a wrap. It was right before we went on vacation. I had heard about it for a while, but it wasn't until I had a vacation planned where I thought, okay, now I'm actually going to listen to you. So I tried a wrap, I saw results, and I became a customer. Not only for the wrap, but for the defining gel. Actually, it was the regular that kind of got me intrigued more. I was already running 6 miles a day. I was healthy. I understood the value of eating and putting good food in your body. And so the supplements really aligned with what I was already thinking, and I was excited to learn more about that. So I signed up as a customer. Brandon started to see the dollar signs. Like, he started to see a hot sizzle product that nobody knows about. I got excited about the supplements. I was taking things, I was seeing a difference, and he started talking to Cammie and Nathan, and we actually upgraded to become distributors 2 weeks later, because he started to realize, like, okay, this could be our next thing. And our story is a little bit different because I didn't quite see the vision. I like to say I'm a hard worker. Like, I was a really good center mid in soccer. Like, I'll run all over the field. I will, you know, I work hard, but I don't need to score. Like, I don't need to be the leader. Someone else can score. I can just, you know, do all the throw-ins and run really fast. So Brandon was the visionary. He's the one that, like, really for our family saw that this was going to be more than just a couple $100 a month, that this was going to be more than just hobby money. And so him and Cammie cast the vision for me. They were the ones that were pouring belief into me and cast the vision for me. And I like to say I was the hard worker. So give me a plan and I'll work it. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't come with a warm market. I mean, all of our friends and family were 9-to-5ers and thought we were weird, and, you know, they didn't quite understand what we were doing. So we quickly had to jump to find new people. We didn't have Blitz cards or Facebook or smartphones 10 years ago. So we really did just, like, we went to salons, chiropractors, massage therapists. We blitzed before there were Blitz cards. We did parties, referral programs. I mean, we did expos, lots of expos. We learned how to get on the phone and call people and that kind of thing. And we just tried different avenues of getting the word out, making new friends, etc., until we really found our niche. And we got to diamond in about a year. Double diamond in 2 years, triple diamond in 3, presidential in 4, and ambassador in 5. And what's kind of cool about this story, and what I love about doing these smaller meetings, is you guys get to hear more than 2 minutes of our story. But Brandon and I went ambassador the same 2 months from each other. So I went ambassador in March, and he went ambassador in May of the same year. And so what I like to say is, it took me 3 years to learn how to do this and 2 years to rock it out, because the same people that got me to triple were not the same people who got me to ambassador. At triple, we quit our jobs. We went to Australia for 6 weeks. We were working an Aussie team. We came back and our leaders were gone, most likely because we built it all ourselves to begin with. The second reason is life happened. One was, like, actually got cancer and had to start going through treatment, and she eventually did pass away. She was someone I went to go visit in Canada, and I knew her, as well as you get to know, you know, a leader on your team. And then another one went through a divorce, and so just life was happening, and I had to sit and think. I thought, okay, what kept me in the game when things were hard? And it was the community. It was the friendship. So when I started recruiting my next line of leaders, I was very intentional about building the sideline community. We did leadership events, leadership calls. We really gelled our leadership team. And then I worked 10 legs, my 5 and Brandon's 5 for 2 years. And we popped 2 ambassadors that year. And then 8 years to go, Black Diamond. So we heard about the Black Diamond goal, and we were so excited. And to be honest, we thought that I'm like, is there a better time to tell the story? I'll just tell you my Black Diamond story because it's really good. So we heard from conference like, oh my gosh, Black Diamond, this is in the bag. We got this, okay? So we got 4 months under our belt that first year, 2013. And there was a piece of me that was like, no big deal. Like, we got this. Like, we are so like sliding into Black Diamond if that ever happens. And so we had 4 months under our belt, and month 5 came. And I started thinking 98. Wouldn't that be so funny if we missed Black Diamond by a couple $1,000s? 98. And I entertained it. And I just kept thinking, like, I was like, that would be so funny. Oh my gosh, that would be so silly. Okay, well, Pam called me the day checks were going to be posted, and she said, Denise, you didn't make Black Diamond. It was 98. And I went, Pam, I've been thinking 98 all month long. And she said, Denise, you did it to yourself. And who cries over a $98,000 check for like a second, right? Because it's not about the money. It's about the goal. When you're red, like, obviously the money is awesome, but it's about, like, I like to win. I like forget there's a good bonus. Like, I just want to be first. And so anyway, that didn't happen. And so then I was really mad and grouchy and, spiteful a little bit. And so the next year I was kind of like, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I was like working for it, but I wasn't uber intentional. And I was just a little like, mad about it. So then the next year came, 2015. And we decided, like, if it's going to happen, we have to make it happen. Like, it's not going to happen on its own. And you guys, no promotions ever happen on their own. Like, you decide and then you go get it. So we decided in 2015, like, we knew we had to go get it. And so we were working. I mean, we were working before, but we were working with much more intensity and much more clarity of what we were working for. And that's when 2.0 came. So we had a fresh start. We could build 2.0, and like, we had things that we could, or promotions we could hit ourselves. So that was fun. And then we came to month 4. We had 4 months under our belt. And month 5 came. And I started thinking, 78. Like, this fear kept popping up, like, no, whatever. And so I decided, instead of letting that fear, I decided to professionally ignore it. So the fear kept popping up, like, what if it doesn't happen, or how embarrassing would that be, or whatever, and all this 76. And I kept going, 103, 76, 103. So it was like this constant battle, 103, and I would stay focused on what I wanted. And we happened to be at a Double Diamond event. You guys, if you're at conference, you heard part of this story. We were at our Double Diamond and Above leadership retreat, where we pretended like it was the year 2025. And it was so fun. The whole the theme of the event was, where there is no vision, people perish. And we had binoculars, get it, vision. It was so cool. And everybody came dressed as the person they wanted to be in 2025. So I came with a business card that said, "It works first, triple Black Diamond," as seen on, American Ninja Warrior, like all this silly stuff. TED Talk, went viral. And we spoke about it all night long. And I was at that event, and Mark Pentecost texted me, and he said, Denise, you got month 5. And it was 1025. So we were like, oh my gosh, okay. So I knew that 103 was a little bit too close. Like, that was a little too, I needed to up it up a little bit. So the whole month I kept going 113. And this fear stuff kept going, you guys. So, and I tell this story because it's not about the numbers. It's about the choice and what you focus on. The fear is always there because we're human. So I had the choice. Do I focus on that fear, or do I focus on what I want? We did power hours with our team every night from 8 to 10, Monday through Thursday. We did, we were like so focused, but not just us. We got our whole team focused on the goal. We had team members tell us that they had dreams about us hitting Black Diamond, that they had dreams about us running for president, that we had dreams about us. My sister was like, I had a dream that you had 133. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be crazy, So the fear kept popping, but we just 113, but we were putting action behind it. We were rallying our team behind it. Like, we were so loud about this promotion. And It was 131. And so it was insane. And I tell the story and because we all have a choice every single day. Do we focus on the fear that creeps up, or do we become a professional ignorer and focus on what we want? And so I'll end with a little bit about that too, but it was pretty insane, but it works. And I can tell you it will work for you as long as you know where you're going and you put feet to it and take action until it gets there. When we started, we didn't have Black Diamond as a goal. I mean, I was like, if you're going to have a hobby, you might as well make money. But what happens is every time you hit a pin level and you help your team hit pin levels, as your eyes start to open to the possibilities in this business. And I just know that we've got so much room to grow. Like, I'm so excited for there to be Black Diamonds in every state, Black Diamonds in every country. You know what I mean? Like, we've got so much room to grow, and I'm excited for those glass ceilings to pop open. That was a long version of my story, Dee. Sorry.
Well, I don't even know how to respond to that. That's amazing. Just to be in your shoes one day. I mean, that's probably for all of us. So, let's see. Okay, so this is the most common one. You probably get this all the time. And I know this is the most common with anybody on our team is, what would you say are your tips, like, for gaining loyal customers? And the one thing I wanted to breach onto that is, I know for me, like, I always say, okay, I want 2 to 3 a day. So that puts me at 60 to 80 a month. But what do you think is a good goal? What should we focus on daily, monthly, weekly, whatever that is? How do you gain them? And then what would you say is a good goal to reach for?
That's a good goal. Wow, good work. Well, I think when you are focusing on product, you're going to get customers. So when you're focusing on, we've been doing a product of the day within our team. So everyone's kind of focusing on a product of the day. We're going to start doing packages of the day because honestly, we want more BV and we want people to get the best results. So I have a girl that did the system for 30 days and has amazing pictures, and that's all. And she started at the beginning of the month, and she's solely like texting her pictures all the time. And so she's getting people on the system because that's what she used to get those results. So when you focus on product, you get loyals. Honestly, we focus a lot on distributors. So if they don't want to make money or if they don't want to become a distributor, then they become a customer. So I don't really have a loyal goal. I have more of a distributor goal. And then the loyals kind of come as if they don't want to be a distributor quite yet. But we do know that volume is the bread and butter of our team. So taking care of your customers and really building a relationship with them. We've started to do a Facebook group for our loyal customers, and all the distributors add value at least once a day to keep people interested, learning about the products. January, we did a 30-day challenge where we had progress pictures every week, and people were really consistent with using the products. And a bunch of those loyals upgraded to become distributors because, number one, they found that we're nice and normal, and number two, the products worked. So some of those systems for taking care of the customers has been really good with customer retention and making sure that they're actually using them.
Well, and that's I know for us, I don't think we ever thought about obviously we focus on distributors, but if they turn down the distributor role, then the next option is a loyal customer. So I'll kind of branch onto that. So let's say you do have them as a loyal customer. You've obviously already discussed maybe about being a distributor, but they turned it down. When would you say is a good time to kind of bring that back up?
So I was going to say, it's what I love about the customers is they end up becoming your best distributors. So it's kind of like they're a good distributor pool, and they've already used the products.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Just like my girl who signed up had a month worth of the system under her belt. And so she came in with hitting the ground running. So I text my loyal customers and I schedule it because we've got a lot of systems for everything. So doesn't have to be me all the time. So I schedule their first text that says, thank you so much for your order. I'm so excited, from you on Facebook. Stay in contact. Here's the information for the group. And then 2 weeks later, I'll say, hey, just checking in. How are you loving your products? And then about 4 to 6 weeks later, I'll text them again. And again, they're in the group getting some of that mass stuff, but I'll text them again and say, have you ever thought about making money while you get your testimony? Or now that you have a story, what do you think about making money with this, or something like that? So usually within the 3 months, I'll circle back around and ask them again.
Okay. Well, that sounds easy enough. Obvious. Okay. So when you go back to distributors, so for a lot of the things that we had on our team was they feel like the little customer in is easier because it's not, it's just a customer. So what would you say are your biggest tips on gaining that distributor, and then kind of tell us what your onboarding process looks like?
So I feel like when people join our team, they're walking into a well-oiled machine. So it's my job to get them connected to our systems. And once they're in, they like us, right? You're like, once you hang out with us, we're really nice and fun and normal and helpful and all of that. So the first 4 to 6 weeks it's my job to essentially become their best friend and teach them what our systems are. So I would like to, I'll do a call and walk them through the E-Suite, show them what buttons to press, make sure they know their website, what is a loyal customer, that kind of stuff. And then also make sure they know when our team call schedule is. And then I'll schedule another time after they've gone through their training in order to answer any questions that they have. So I guess I'll tell you 2 things. I'll tell you what I did when I had more time, and I'll tell you what I do now. So what I did a couple years ago that worked really well was that I would schedule 4 to 6 calls with new distributors. And I always had a reason to talk, because otherwise it was like, so how you doing? Did you do anything today? Did you tell anyone about your business today? Did you wrap yet? Did you, so I would say, hey, we're going to talk about the products today. Do you have 30 minutes? We're going to talk about the products, go through it, have your first party. Today we're going to talk a little bit about blitzing or your hundreds list. Or so I'd have a reason to talk, so that way it felt like more than just me staring at them. And I would schedule, the first one was E-Suite training, and then, a couple days later we'd go over, and so I would kind of schedule it like a system, and I can say most people didn't make it through. A lot of the distributors didn't make it through the 6 calls. They either would no show or they'd reschedule and they'd kind of fall off. But the people who stuck with it, who actually got on the phone with me for those first few weeks, number one, it built the relationship, so we didn't need to schedule anything anymore. They felt comfortable just reaching out to me. And number 2, they got a good start and they felt like they knew what they were doing. So those were the people that we really worked with. I don't have time to herd sheep, so I don't spend a lot of time being like, come on, seriously, you really like us, come make money with us. After those first 4 to 6 weeks, if they're not picking up what I'm laying down, I'm running, I'm going, and you're either kind of doing it with me or you're not. So back then, when I felt like I had a little bit more time, I could schedule those intro calls and really work with them their first 4 to 6 weeks to get them in. Now that I feel a little bit crazier, I do a lot of things in groups. So for right now, it's mass enrolling time. So I'm doing a new distributor training Zoom with a specific team that I'm working to blow up. We're building momentum within this group. So I'm doing it with just them. So I'm getting to know just this smaller group every Sunday night, and we're going through, your why, your goals. The goal too is, it's not that we need more training, you guys. There's training everywhere. It's about getting them to talk to each other and say their whys out loud and get to know people and that kind of thing. So now I'm doing Zooms with all the group of new distributors that we're bringing in alongside our normal team training Zooms for everybody else. So just trying to give them more personal attention. But again, I do text them before and after. I will stalk them a little bit right now because they don't know how cool we are yet, but I don't stalk them forever because we don't have time. So I really just work with the people who show up.
Well, and we've learned kind of through all this is that you don't do it for them. You can only do it for them for so long, and then you have to continue on looking for new ones, I guess. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a big one. So how do you stay motivated during the slow months, slow weeks, slow day? How do you stay positive after you've had, let's say, 20 no's? What do you do?
So I think one of the other questions was what was it? What's your wow factor that makes you a black diamond? That was on your list. That's so funny. And I think that that's part of it, honestly. The difference maker that I've noticed is that I work harder on myself than I sometimes do on the business. I am constantly doing personal development, and I have for 10 years. So Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, Joel Osteen, The Compound Effect is one of my favorite books. Let's see, Success Principles changed my life, really. And there's just so many things when you read at least a book a month for 10 years, like you get a lot under your belt. The month we went Black Diamond, I listened to The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale from YouTube. It's a 30-minute free, listen to it every single day while I was like driving the kids to school. And so I constantly have something in my ear, and I see the long-term vision. So I'm not as emotional. Like I think at the beginning, you're like, yes, yay, no, oh, yes, yay, no. You're like a roller coaster a little bit. Eventually, I'm just like going, and people are either coming or they're not. So I don't get as emotionally attached to the yeses and the nos. Like one of the girls that I really like that signed up, like she just got her kit and tried the route for the first time, has already told me she's going to quit twice. And every time I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you're good. Like, this is going to be good. And anyway, I don't get rocked by that as much as I did before. And I just stay focused. So personal development, I think, is the difference maker. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We have sprints within it. But this is an endurance race. I mean, in order to be in this business for 10 years, like you have to have the long-term vision. And we know that, I mean, we grew up, like Amway's in our town, right? Amway owns half of Grand Rapids. And so we go to the Van Andel Arena and the DeVos Hall, and Mark and Cindy grew up here, I mean, raised their family here. And so they've got the vision of Amway, and they know that that's what their sights are on. And Amway is a $11 billion company, 80% of which is international. So a lot of companies like this, 20% of their business is the States. And for us, 80% is the States and 20% is international. And corporate's working to flip-flop that right now. So I'm just excited for what's to come. And so my highs, I'm just like sights are on that growth. And I mean, I didn't work this hard to let someone else have $1 billion in sales. Like I want our team to have $1 billion in sales,
Man. Okay. Well, this next question I was thinking about, I was like, it's what does your day look like? But I want to kind of flip flop it because obviously your day may be a little different than some of our days. If you were, let's say you had someone that's getting ready to go diamond, or they're like on the verge of getting their bonus, what would you tell them that their day should look like?
So when we were going ambassador, I was doing 5 to 7 parties a week and on the phone like 10 to 12 hours a day. I mean, you're just talking to leads and new distributors all day long. You're making sure your leaders know what they're doing, and you're talking to leads and new distributors consistently, whether it's through Facebook Messenger these days or Zoom or whatever it is. Like you just want to be in constant contact with your team, but then always bringing in new people. So most of my day, even now, is generating leads and following up with leads, and then training new distributors to plug into the system so they can plug into like the group trainings, the call. We've got group mentoring, accountability, all that kind of stuff like set up. So the goal is that they can plug in and run. And I would say I'm certainly like go on vacation, and I do have pool parties in the summer. Like every Friday we have a pool party and our team comes. So, but my day doesn't change based on the season as much. Like I stay consistent. And part of that is because I don't want to burn out. I need sleep. And that's part of what can happen in a business like this is you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm up till 2 and I have to get up at 6. Okay. How long does that last? That's happened. So now I'm trying to like stay consistent. So I stay consistent in March, and I'm working the same in December. It might be more planting seeds or building relationships. And now I'm doing a lot of signing a new distributor training, but but the urgency is the same, and it's just consistent.
Yep, consistency is key. Okay, let's see, where am I at? Okay, so as far, I know you said in the beginning, like there wasn't Facebook and there wasn't as much social media, but now that's like a root of what we do a lot now. So would you say you focus more, like which platform do you focus more on? Instagram, Facebook, and then what would you say are your tips for posting? Like when do you post? What's a good mix for social media?
We do primarily Facebook. So I've tried to like do both Instagram and Facebook, and I just don't have the mental space to learn it all. So I do Facebook, and what I've learned works well. And I always think, gosh, I need to be better at this, but I love stories and before and after pictures. And I know that my new girls who post before and after pictures with stories and their story and their before and after pictures gain a lot of traction. And so it's consistent, and it's not like, join my team, join my team. It's like that pull marketing. You know, you're drawing people into conversation by being a little bit curious, like not giving all the facts, but stimulating that curiosity for them to reach out and ask for more. So good pictures are good. Like I've learned, I'm just so new at all of this still. I'm not like an expert, but I try to like take pictures and stock up so that I can kind of plan out what I'm going to do for the next few days, like my theme. So I'm not just like, what am I doing right now? I'm always like working. So I'm like, not doing anything cool. I don't know what to talk about. So I try to like stack up a little bit with family pictures or team pictures, and just use them intermittently and that kind of stuff. So I do like think about the next few days, especially with lives. And again, I'm like, I need to go live more. But in my house, if I don't put it on my calendar, it doesn't happen. Because again, very rarely am I like, oh my gosh, we need to totally live this right now. Like most often we have to plan it, even if it's just chit chatting or being goofy or whatever. I put it in my calendar. So my plan or my goal is to go live a few times a week. I know some people are going live a few times a day, and that's really working for them. I would love to do that if I put it in my calendar. And so just being a little bit thoughtful in what you're putting out there, because at the end of the day, my job, or I feel like my goal, is to add value. I want to teach people. I want to inspire. I want to be somebody that people want to hang around. I want to add value to the world. And when I do that, I believe everything else will come. So think about your niche. Think about what you're passionate about. Personal development for me, I don't know if it's the psych world or all the reading I've done, but personal development is a big part of my passion. So I talk a lot about that. But I know my sister-in-law had colon issues and I had a colonoscopy at 21. And so these products totally impacted her life, and she is product driven. So she's constantly talking about product. So think about what really intrigues you and gets you going. And that can be a part of your brand, your platform, your voice, really, just to continue to add value into the world.
Well, that's awesome. And that's so, so true. Here's one question that we get a lot of, and I know we've experienced it some. So and when it comes to parties, so not social media, but how do you get, people always want to do a party for you, but what would you suggest? What's a good way to get people to come to the parties? We get those calls, we're like, I don't want to, we only had one person show up. It's not going to be worth it. And I always say, well, yes, that one person is definitely worth it, because that could totally change your business. But how do you what would you say is your best recommendation to get people, for one, to come to the parties, and even if it is just one person, to keep them wanting to do parties?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you my first party had 3 people from my neighborhood come. One person wrapped, and I had 0 loyal customers. And I remember I told Cammie, well, my goal changed. Instead of my goal being to get customers, my goal was to learn from you, and I did it. So yay. She did, and we just did it again. But in order to get people there, I think one thing we need to really remember is to be personal about it. Actually ask them, we do virtual parties every week on our team, and we still teach, ask them personally. Don't just add a bunch of people to the virtual party. Don't just add a bunch of people to a Facebook event or to a message and invite them to a party. You want them to know that they're important and that their being there is important. So again, I'm thinking of this new distributor right now we booked 2 parties in her first 2 weeks, one on Wednesday and one on Saturday. And the first one on Wednesday had, 4 people show up, and the one on Saturday had 1 person showed up. But out of those people, I think 3 customers and 1 distributor. And what happens is it's not even about the party, it's about all the talking you had to do surrounding the party. So you may invite 40 people to your party and have 3 show up, but guess what? I bet you also have some one-on-ones. You also planted seeds for the next one. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen during the invite process, even if they can't come to that exact party. So having a party is important, and it's not even about the party. It's about all the personal invitations that happen surrounding it, and then scheduling from there. So if they can't come to your event, then you use that as a reason for them to have their own party or to do a one-on-one, etc. But the personal invites, so again, what this lady is saying is she's saying, hey, I just started in a new business and I totally thought of you. You were one of the first people that entered my mind, and I want to make sure that you hear about it first. And so just, again, urgent and exclusive. I only have 6 reps available or whatever it is. Do you want to claim one? Deadlines, let me know if you can come by Thursday. Otherwise, I'll offer it to someone else. That's one way to get them off the fence is the takeaway. Sometimes people, you can offer them the world, but until you take it away, they don't care. It's like that fear of missing out. All of a sudden, they're like, oh, no, I do want it. So urgency, deadline, and personal, I think and that's with anything, but I think getting them to parties, that's what we do too.
Well, and that's what my husband was just saying. That's a good perception, because we get sometimes we'll get discouraged because 3 only showed up, but that's like you said, out of those 37 that you invited, out of that 40, those are still people that are great potentials that could be, or maybe just couldn't make it, but they're still interested. Okay, so you already you got my wow factor. So to end it off, and I think this one's great because I know we have several new people I know on my team that are on. So if you could tell any new distributor that literally just signed up or is a month in, maybe they're struggling a little bit, but what would be 3 things that you would tell a brand new distributor to keep it simple? Like, what 3 things ultimately make this business work? Like, what should they do?
So the first 3 things that come to mind are to fall in love with the products, make new friends, and share your experience with them loudly. Part of me wants to say like talk about vision and belief and all of that kind of stuff, and that's true. Like, you have to borrow our confidence if you don't see it quite yet. Like, borrow our belief. Like, we've been there, we've seen people. I used to say that when I was a counselor working with people going through depression. I'd be like, borrow my confidence if you don't believe it, because I've seen people in this situation come out on the other side. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. And I know that can happen for you too. And it's kind of the same thing with with our new distributors. Like, I know you're starting in fear and you're nervous and you don't know what to expect, but borrow my confidence, because I've seen so many people come on the other side and grow and thrive and learn and pay off debt and have so much fun along the way. And I know it can happen for you. So borrow my belief. But at the end of the day, it really is about keeping your head down and sharing the products and business with people. And that's it. Fall in love with the products and tell people about it. And when you do that every single day, things will start to snowball. Your belief will grow, your confidence will grow, and your vision will grow. I think sometimes people are like, if I'm not making $10,000, then it's not good enough, And you're like, okay, let's start with, wrapping your mom. Like step one, just fall in love with the products and keep talking to people, and everything will start to grow. Keep it simple.
Okay, so, well, that's a good one because you just totally changed my whole verbiage of fake it till you make it. It's borrow the confidence. That's the perfect part. Well, that's all I have. Alicia, is there anything you wanted to add to it before I say my closing?
Denise, you killed it. I absolutely loved it. I know that so many of us have really, really good notes. I'm in the middle of an online party right now. But what I would want to ask is just, March is a big month for all of us. And there's a lot of us gunning for some big promotions, whether it be this month or next month. If you just had one tip, what would that be for these guys out there that are really pushing hard for these promotions? What would that be?
Yeah. Okay. In order to create momentum, you have to get very clear about what you want, and then you have to work 110% like it's going to happen. And you can't stop. I mean, what people do is they're like, I'm going to go diamond. On the 15th of the month, they go, oh, it's too far away. And they stop and they give up on themselves. I can tell you the month we went ambassador, the last week of the month, I went, Brandon, I don't know if it's going to happen. And he went, it better happen because we're not doing this again. And I was like, ah. So that's just the fear. You know what I mean? That's just the fear. And so you have to become a professional ignorer of that fear and create your own team momentum by being so loud that nothing else is like diamond is happening. Like, it, you believe it, you see it, and it's like it just has to flip in the system. So don't give up on yourself. I know people that have rallied $3,000 in volume the last week of the month. And what they do is they don't do it alone. They get their emerald on board. They get their 3 rubies on board. They get their executives on board, and everybody's in charge of filling a $400 leg. So they get the whole team rallied around it. And when you break down the goal, everyone's responsible for $200 to $400. Like, you can do that by getting on the phone and asking. Ask. And then you have to ask those closing questions. Like, it's not time to build relationships. Like, we should have done that in October. It's now time to be like, what package do you want to start with? Are you ready to get going? I'm putting orders in. Like, I'd love to get your order in today. You're doing closing right now with the people that you've built the relationship with over the past few months. So be loud, lead with packages, and just know from your core that it's happening. And just don't listen to that fear, because it's going to be there. I mean, it's just part of life. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. So you have to make that conscious choice every single day to stay focused on what you want. And then, oh my gosh, and then celebrate. It's so exciting.
Love it. I have not been paying attention to the chat because I am doing this online party, so I'm clueless as if there were any questions. But I think you got the nail on the head. You hit the grand slam. I say you hit a home run and we're good to go. So if Dee, you just wanted to close it out, we're good.
Well, I wanted to say thank you so much. And I was something like in my mind, I've told my husband, well, like, I'm boxed for triple and I'll hopefully be triple. But you totally closed it for me. Like, I've been saying, well, I'll just wait on April. And you made that, you said, you can do whatever you want in the next 10 days or whatever we got left. But that just totally hit core for me. I know for me anyway. So thank you, because I'm going to run for it. And I hope my whole team runs for it. Everybody that's on this call. And the ones that make time for these calls is what is really going to inspire our business and continue to grow. So thank you for everyone getting on. And Denise, thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this. It meant the world to me. I know it meant the world to everybody here. And I just thank you for that. And
I do want to end with one thing when you're done.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to end with an I declare, because I believe that each and every one of you are brought into this business and into this team for a reason. And I know for me, I have planted my roots here and I am blossoming here. And I know that all of the gifts and skills that, I've had, that growing, blossoming whatever within me, I can use in this business. And I believe that you can too. So you have to make that decision. What do you want? I think that's half the battle. Most of us don't even know what we want, or we're so stressed and overwhelmed that we don't have the brain space to even think about what we want because we're trying to just survive. So really get clear about what you want and why you want it, and then decide that you're going to go get it. And you will create your own team momentum. And 2 + 2 will not equal 4 anymore. 10 years into the business, we've got 2 little boys who have red hair, and they're so precious, that only know 2 work from home parents, that have the time flexibility to go visit at school and volunteer at recess, but yet we also have the resources to take them to Charlotte and go visit their aunt. And, it's honestly my ideal day. Like, we are living my ideal day. We are living, we get paid to stay healthy and make new friends and travel and visit them. Like, this is stinking awesome. So you're here for a reason. And I want to end with an I declare. This is by Joel Osteen, and he says, I declare God's dream for my life is coming to pass. It will not be stopped by people, disappointments, or adversities. God has solutions to every problem I will ever face already lined up. The right people and the right breaks are in my future. This is my declaration. And that is my declaration for you.
Oh. I love it. Thank you so much.
Have a good night. Thank you.